I'm Nathan Judo. I'm here with Aston Villa and Wolves reporter for the day, Mr. Maher.
Chief Sports Writer, Nathan.
Sorry, Chief Sports Writer as well.
Address me by my proper title.
Mr. Matthew Maher. Fair result, 0-0, would you say?
I thought it was absolutely a fair result. I thought it was a game which highlighted the good and the bad of both teams, and probably a result which suits neither of them. I think it slightly suits Villa better than Wolves. We'll get onto that in a bit. But yeah, I mean, it was Dean Smith described it as the proverbial game of two halves, and I think that's it. As much as I hate, it's a cliche.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Villa hit the bar twice in the opening 15 minutes. They were much the better team in the first half. Second half, Wolves came back into it, and we'll feel they should have won the game. Roman Saiss obviously producing one of the misses of the season. Conor Coady, why has he not been going up for free kicks until now? He scored at Man City. He's hit the post today.
Yeah.
He's been denied by Emiliano Martinez, and then Villa could have won it at the death. So, it was a. I thought this game was going to finish 0-0. I was really worried about this game because I feel that both teams are going through a bit of struggling for consistency. Villa lacking a bit of creativity without Jack Grealish. Wolves stubborn and lacking intent, at Man City and in several other games. It finished 0-0, but it was a better 0-0 with more talking points than perhaps expected. So it was entirely a fair result.
I mean, you go into that first half though with Villa having those chances. They were easily on top in that game, and you felt that if they did take one of those chances, they'd have probably gone on and won the game quite comfortably, because Wolves looked shot of confidence at the start.
They did, yeah, and we've seen it too often from the Wolves' perspective, and it's not just a recent thing. It was happening a lot last season when Wolves were a better team than they are now. I mean, Nuno said afterwards that he doesn't know why. Clearly, it's obviously not instruction. Then it's not a case of
every week. It's every single week.
It's not the old kind of keep it tight. It's almost become a mental thing. But they've got to sort it out, because you can't. I mean, they were. I know they were close. They were 10 minutes from getting a draw at Man City, but they were lucky to be in that position.
Yeah, of course.
And they've been lucky today, really, with the chances Villa had. Without Patricio not having to make a save until the 92nd minute, but Villa were on top in that first half, and it felt it was more a case of Villa picking the wrong options in the final third, and Villa being without Jack Grealish. Sure. That someone who can unlock the door, rather than Wolves. I thought Conor Coady was very good in defence, rather than Wolves doing anything in particular outstanding in defensively. So they were fortunate in that in that respect. But then the second half, they just got better. And yeah, it was a frustrating game for both teams. And for Wolves now, you look at where they are in the table. They've got Liverpool next week, which is nowhere near as daunting a game as previous. So I suppose they wish it was at Anfield, the way things are going for Liverpool at the moment. But it's a battle now for Wolves to get into the top 10. They've played more games than most teams. I think they're now. I'm trying to do rough maths here without looking at the table. I think 4 points behind Arsenal, but having played a game more. So it's going to be a battle to get into the top 10. But they've got to, they've got to start. There are glimpses here. They showed them at the second half today. They've got to start bringing it all together now in these last 10 games. That's got to be the aim now for the rest of the season. Yeah, there are mitigating circumstances which we all know about, and it's a season of transition. But ultimately, where are you transitioning to? You can't forever be in transition.
And I guess if they are looking to get in that top half of the table, I mean, with the Liverpool game, they've got one game in the next month. Hopefully, maybe in 4 or 5 weeks' time, and they've got 7 or 8 games left of this season. They could have Willy Bolly back, Daniel Podence back, potentially Raul Jimenez back, and you look like it's a different side.
There's the potential that they could finish strongly, but. Even to get into the top 10 now, you're looking at probably having to win maybe 6 of those last 10 games, and at the moment, you know, they don't
long way
look
off,
a
yeah.
team capable of doing that. Villa's situation is a bit more interesting. I mean, this has been a disappointing week in the end, considering it started with them beating Leeds, but then they really, you know, to use an American term, laid an egg. I don't know where that's come from, by the way. Laid an egg at Sheffield United. And then today, you know, taking a point, okay, it keeps them, you know, they've lost ground. They've missed the chance to kind of make up ground, close up ground on those teams immediately above them in the race for Europe. The advantage, I mean, the gap between Villa and Wolves is only 5 points, but the advantage is that Villa have got these games in hand.
Yeah.
They play Everton and Tottenham twice, you know, now it's still before the end of the season. You know, and they're 6-pointers. The question is, can they stay within striking distance until Grealish gets back? He could be back at Newcastle next week. I suspect it's more likely he'll be back against Tottenham, because they'll probably feel they can beat Newcastle without him, or have a decent shot of beating Newcastle. But Newcastle's a big game for Villa now. They ideally needed to win today. I think they probably need to go and beat Newcastle now. Otherwise, it's a struggle. You do think that perhaps what we've seen the last few weeks from Villa has shown us why they probably just aren't ready to get into, you know, to qualify for Europe, to finish top 6, top 7. But if they want to sustain it, if they want to, you know, keep this season interesting, and it would be a shame if it fizzled out, because let's face it, it's been a really good season. Then they probably need to go to Newcastle and win. The bigger picture, which we're always looking at, is last June, you know, Wolves came and won here, went 5th, Villa were 19th. You know, the turnaround since then, I mean, Villa have made a huge amount of progress to the point now where there's a good chance they will finish ahead of Wolves in the table, which, while Wolves have had their problems, shows you how far Villa have come. But you know, again today, it's shown the work they've got to do. That the second half just didn't really happen for them, and you feel that if Jack Grealish had played today, Villa probably win the game, because there were a number of times in the first half where they picked the wrong option, and it's just not quite come off for them. So yeah, positives to take for both teams in terms of their performances in the first half of Villa, second half of Wolves, but obviously negatives as well, and solutions to find. As Nuno
would say, Villa 0, Wolves 0 for all the post-match reaction. Make sure you log on to expressionstar.com.